Welcome to Bookscape, your sanctuary for book lovers. Here we provide concise summaries and insightful reviews of the best books. Turn off the noise, settle in, and immerse yourself in the world of literature. Discover new favorites and explore captivating stories with Bookscape.
Welcome to Bookscape. Today, we're diving into Viktor E. Frankl's profound and moving work, Man's Search for Meaning. This book, a cornerstone in both psychological literature and Holocaust history, offers a deep exploration of human suffering and the quest for meaning. Let's dive into the key insights, quotes, and examples that make this book a timeless classic. Introduction: A Journey of Suffering and Meaning. In September 1942, a young psychiatrist found himself in a line outside a Nazi concentration camp. At the time, no one knew the full extent of the Nazi atrocities. Prisoners, who initially thought they were entering a temporary camp, quickly faced a harsh reality. Their personal belongings were confiscated, their heads shaved, and their arms tattooed with serial numbers. Everything about their previous lives seemed lost and irrelevant. Despite the overwhelming despair, the young psychiatrist found a way to find meaning in his suffering. This is the powerful narrative we encounter in Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Frankl recounts his experiences during the Holocaust, offering an existential analysis of life as a concentration camp prisoner. Despite the horrors he faced, Frankl managed to document his experiences and develop logotherapy, a new form of therapy. If life is inherently filled with suffering, Frankl's logotherapy and insights on finding meaning offer a crucial antidote. Since its publication in 1947, the book has sold over 10 million copies and been translated into more than 24 languages. Here are some of our key takeaways, examples, and memorable quotes from this classic work. The Will to Meaning. During his 3-year imprisonment, Frankl discovered that one could find meaning in life through work, love, or suffering. He called this concept the will to meaning. Frankl often lost himself in thoughts about the work he wanted to accomplish after his release. He fantasized about publishing his book, developing logotherapy, and contributing further to psychology. For instance, when Frankl arrived at Auschwitz, his nearly complete manuscript was confiscated. He would frequently visualize and mentally rewrite this manuscript, finding meaning in these acts despite his dire circumstances. One of the most poignant examples Frankl shares is the significance of his wife. Separated upon arrival at the camp, Frankl had no idea where she was or if he would ever see her again. The thought of reuniting with her constantly occupied his mind. At times, he felt her presence so strongly that it seemed real. Tragically, Frankl later learned that his wife had died in Auschwitz, likely very close to where he was imprisoned. Despite this, Frankl continued to find meaning and persevere. Frankl's mindset helped him endure the daily hardships at Auschwitz and Dachau. Rather than dwelling on his past life, he focused on finding meaning in each moment. Whether thinking about his wife or reflecting on logotherapy, Frankl found purpose in his suffering, which he saw as a fundamental aspect of the human condition. Logotherapy. Man's Search for Meaning extensively discusses Frankl's logotherapy, first by demonstrating its application, and then by explaining its principles. Logotherapy is a psychological approach centered on helping people find meaning in their lives. It is also known as the Third Viennese School of Psychotherapy, following the contributions of Sigmund Freud and Alfred Adler. Unlike Freud and Adler, Frankl believed that the quest for existential meaning is the primary driving force in a person's life. Frankl argued that therapy should focus on existentialism because we suffer greatly when our meaning is unknown. He called this existential frustration, a type of anxiety that causes significant mental anguish. This can lead to existential despair, a depressed state where we question the meaning of life. Frankl supports this theory with his own concentration camp experiences, observing that those without a sense of meaning often struggled to survive. Frankl aimed to expand on the psychoanalytical and individualistic ideas introduced by Freud and Adler. He identified a central force driving all of us that his predecessors had not fully explored. Since its publication in 1947, Logotherapy has helped thousands overcome various psychological struggles and has influenced the development of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which remains widely used today. The meaning of life. Traditional views on the meaning of life often involve a lifelong, unchanging task. For example, a musician might find meaning in practicing daily. However, Frankl's concept of meaning is more dynamic. He argues that meaning is subjective and evolves over time. To live a meaningful life, we must identify what is meaningful to us in each moment, practicing a form of mindfulness to discern our purpose. According to Frankl, finding meaning involves a shift in perspective. Instead of asking what the meaning of life is, he suggests recognizing that life is asking us this question. Frankl writes, "Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather, he must recognize that it is he who is being asked." In a word, each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible. Our goals and aspirations change over time, and that's perfectly fine. If life is inherently filled with suffering, we must pursue goals that make the suffering worthwhile. As we strive to achieve these goals, we find the meaning we seek. Frankl encapsulates this idea by stating, "What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him. If the nature of life is to suffer, then finding meaning despite this suffering is essential." To truly grasp the profound impact of Viktor Frankl's experiences and insights, let's delve into 3 memorable examples from Man's Search for Meaning. These examples highlight the resilience of the human spirit, the power of inner freedom, and the profound sense of liberation that comes from finding meaning even in the direst circumstances. These stories not only illustrate Frankl's key concepts, but also serve as powerful reminders of our capacity to endure and find purpose amidst suffering. Example 1. Choosing your attitude. When Viktor Frankl arrived at Auschwitz, he and many others were confused about their fate. Some even asked if they could bring personal belongings, not realizing they were prisoners. The reality set in when they were ordered to line up, and SS officers began sorting them based on their fitness for work. Those deemed fit were sent to work, while the rest were sent to the gas chambers. Frankl describes how he remained composed, realizing that his response to his circumstances was the only thing he could control. He writes, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." By maintaining a strong and resilient demeanor, he was selected for work and survived. This attitude of acceptance and determination reveals the depth of human resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. Example 2. The power of inner freedom. Despite the torment of concentration camp life, prisoners could still experience a profound sense of inner freedom. Frankl notes that sensitive individuals with rich intellectual lives often suffered physically, but retained a robust inner life. Their ability to retreat into their inner selves and find spiritual freedom helped them survive. Frankl himself relied on this inner retreat during a grueling march in the snow. A fellow prisoner's comment about their wives led Frankl to imagine his own wife, bringing him comfort and strength. He realized that love allowed those who suffer to persevere. This inner life and spiritual freedom enabled Frankl and others to endure the physical and mental hardships they faced. Example 3. Liberation and gratitude. After 3 years in the Holocaust, Frankl's camp was liberated. Walking through the campgrounds, Frankl experienced a profound sense of freedom and gratitude. He fell to his knees, repeatedly reciting, I called to the Lord from my narrow prison, and he answered me in the freedom of space. This scene illustrates that liberation from suffering is possible for everyone, in every aspect of life. Careers, relationships, daily interactions, suffering is inevitable. However, like Frankl, we can find moments of liberation and peace. Surviving the worst life can offer, Frankl exemplified how to transcend suffering and find meaning and freedom. Conclusion: embracing meaning and freedom. Man's search for meaning is a meditation on meaning and how to find it even in the most desolate places. When Frankl stepped off the train into the camp, he made a conscious choice. He beautifully states, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Our choices define us, and our response to suffering shapes our experience. We can choose to suffer or to thrive despite suffering. The choice, as Frankl emphasizes, is ours."
Thanks for joining us on Bookscape. If you enjoyed this book summary and review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments below. If you want to purchase a copy of the book or audiobook, check out the link in the description. Until next time, happy reading, and remember, every journey begins with a book.